Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week's top 10 list is brought to you by 4Collector. And every time I see 4Collector, I always see this and I think it's 4K Collector, and it's not 4K Collector, it's most certainly 4Collector. Anyway, 4Collector suggested to me, how about a top 10 list on eBay tips? And I thought for a while, and I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to do a top 10 list on buying on eBay tips and a top 10 list of selling on eBay tips. This week, we're going to tackle the top 10 buying tips on eBay. So, what I'm going to do, this is for Collector's page. You can search him and check it out. I will see if I can't put a link down below. You know me, though, I suck at trying to figure out how to do links. Me and my old my old Chromebook here struggle mightily on that kind of stuff. Anyway, we're going to go with, like I said, the top 10 buying tips, top 10 tips for buying on eBay. Now, number 10 on my list, number 10 when it comes to buying is search generally, okay? People, when they look for stuff, are very specific. Don't do that. If you search generally for stuff, you're going to come up with a lot more items. If you search specifically, someone who has mislabeled their item is going to escape you. So what do I mean by that? Well, right up here, you can see where it says shop by category. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on shop by category. You can see it says collectibles and art. We're going to go down to coins and paper money. I'm sure all of you have done this before. And that's going to load up this page where I'm going to go down to paper money US. And from there, now this is where you actually first make your first decision. I'm going to go with large size notes. That's as general as I'm going to get. So by clicking on large size notes, I know the notes that are going to show up are all going to be large size notes. So any large size note that someone is selling is going to show up here. Rather than me typing in a specific year or a specific grade or a specific condition, by doing it this way, I now have all of them right in front of me. And that's important when you're looking for the best price. So number 10, search generally. Number 9, when I'm searching generally, the next thing that I do is I go to the section of the search where it allows me to, right here, all I did was scroll down, and you see where it says best match? If I hit that, my first choice is time ending soonest. So that's what I do. I look to see what kind of stuff is ending right now. And I will look and see what is available. This ends in 55 seconds. This one in a minute. And you can see these are not large size notes. But they came up in there because they were mislabeled. Which means these being mislabeled, you stand a pretty good chance of getting them for a decent price because somebody who was looking for this wasn't able to find them. Here, once again, four Civil War era fractionals. Those 4 fractionals, somebody who's looking for fractionals probably isn't going to find them because these are put under large size notes. Fractionals are certainly not large size notes. And these end in 2 minutes and 14 seconds. So yes, number 9 on my list would be search what ends first. I will go through this until this number starts to become, this is ending in an hour. So that way I've covered everything that's ending between now and the next hour, and I know that I don't have to rush after that. So yeah, it's always good to see what's ending soonest. Number 8 on my list. One of the things you also have to watch for when you're doing this is, I don't even know if any of these are going to show up here, but you want to look for the word reproduction or other, okay? That's number 8 on my list. Pay attention to reproductions. It's very easy to find something on here that looks great, and I'm just, like I said, scrolling down to see if any of these pop up, and then what here, like this one here, this is an $18.99 $5 silver certificate. It's a lithograph. This is not a real chief note, okay? So a real chief note, of course, is not going to sell for $24.95. Don't think you're getting a chief note for that price. So reproductions, lithographs. There's one particular seller on here who sells wallets that look like large size notes, so you're going to see a really weird price on that. So pay attention in the description for keywords like that, for reproduction, for contemporary, counterfeit, stuff like that. Make sure you're getting the original thing. That's number 8. Number 7, when you're going through stuff like this and you spot something that you think is pretty interesting, the next thing you want to do is check the seller. Okay. All right, here we go. We'll click on this Georgia 1858 $1 bank. $1 Bank of Columbus. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look right over here at the seller. And you can see this seller has a 100% positive feedback rating, and you can see that he has 1,314 different users who have left positive feedback. To me, that's a good seller. I do not buy when I see a seller that has 0 or 1 for a total number of people sold. To me, that indicates it's a new seller, and it would indicate that potentially that person had scammed a bunch of people and got a bunch of negative feedback, so they just started a brand new account off at 0. Because if you had sold hundreds or thousands of items and got 2 or 3 bad notes on there, you're going to live with that. You're not going to try to hide it and get rid of all those old reviews. So yeah, beware when the seller, next to the seller's name, it has a 0 there. That person is new. Also, if you are a new seller, the first thing I would do is buy a bunch of stuff. That way you get feedback. It's very difficult to sell when you have 0 feedback for yourself. People are leery of that. The other thing, well, that's number 7. Number 6 is review the feedback. Now, this person here has 100% positive on their feedback. Normally, you're going to see 99.9, 99.7, 100%. That's all fine and dandy. But if you see somebody that's got anything lower than 98 or 97, now you got to start asking questions. And what you can do is you can quite literally click on those numbers, and that'll take you to this person's feedback. And here you can see positive feedbacks, 37. In the last 6 months, they've had 191. In the last 12 months, they've had 210. And you also have the option to see how many neutrals and negatives there are, as well as being able to read the actual feedback. So, one of the sellers I deal with sells replica notes, and their feedback rating is like 98%, which is pretty bad for eBay. But when you look at those ratings for that seller, all the negatives are from people who bought a $1,000 bill for $2.49 and were disappointed that it wasn't a real $1,000 bill. That's the kind of people you have to deal with when you're selling replica notes that cheap. So all of the negatives on that particular seller, well, that's what they were like. They were from people who didn't read the description. There were people in there that even said, you should put it in the description, it's a replica. Well, it's in the description that it's a replica. These people are just stupid. But anyway, if you're worried about what their feedback rating is, you can always check the actual feedback. So checking the seller's, or reviewing the feedback of the seller, that's number 6 on my list. All right, number 5. Let me just back this up. I think I'm going to go back 2 pages on this. Yep. All right, number 5. Don't bid on items that you want to watch, okay? What would be a real good example of this? Okay, let's say I was interested in this note right here. It's $3.50 free shipping. If I was to click on this and I tell myself, well, I'm just going to put that minimum bid, that $3.50 bid on there, because that way it goes into my homepage where it shows all the items I'm bidding on. Don't do that, okay? Because if you put a minimum bid on here and somebody else is thinking the same way as you and they put a minimum bid on there and a third person also puts a minimum bid on there, all of a sudden there are 3 bids on this note that have no business being there because people are just trying to watch the note so that they can follow it along. There is a little section right here called Add to Watch List. You can put items into the watch list to keep an eye on them. Now, putting stuff on that watch list is actually a really good thing, because if the item is a buy it now, for instance, the seller is notified that people are watching that item, and the seller may make you an offer. And nothing is better than watching an item and then the seller dropping the price and giving you a private message saying, hey, if you really want this, I'll give it to you for this. So don't minimum bid this item to put it in your watch list. Actually click on this right here, add to watch list, and who knows, maybe the seller will send you a little bonus. You never know. Okay, that's number 5. Don't bid, watch. Number 4, don't minimum bid. Okay, when you decide to put a bid in, don't put the minimum bid in there. What you want to do is you want to put the maximum amount, I can't talk. You want to put the maximum amount that you will pay, because eBay doesn't work like a standard auction. In a standard auction, the person who bids the highest gets the item for that price. eBay doesn't work that way. Let this roll around in your brain for a second. When eBay has an auction, the person who bids the highest gets the note for the price of the second highest bidder. Okay, I'll say that one more time. The person who bids the highest gets the item for the price of the second highest bidder, which means I could bid $100 on this and somebody else could bid $10 on this. And even though I bid $100, I don't have to pay $100. I can get it for the $10, technically $10.50, or whatever the next increment is above that. That's why you don't want a minimum bid. If I was to bid $3.50 on there and I'm willing to pay $5 or $6 for that particular note, then if I put $3.50 in there, someone might try to snipe it at the end of the auction. And at that point, it's too late for me to come back and rebid. But if I was to put $10 as my bid and somebody was to try to snipe this at the last second for $4, well, I'm going to get it for $4.50. So when you're putting in your bids, put them in at the maximum price you're willing to pay. The other part of that is then you don't have to go back, because if you got the item, you got it for the most you wanted to pay for it or less. And if you didn't get the item, well, that was above what you wanted to pay for it anyway. So the best way to get items, like I said, is don't put the minimum bid, put the maximum amount you're willing to pay. All right, number 3 on this list. Number 3 is right over here. This is see other items. Now, I tell you about this on my stuff all the time. If you look at a particular item, this item in particular, if I had this item bid on, and there was a combination on shipping. If he says pay shipping on this, and if you buy 5 items, I'll combine shipping. Well, that's huge, because if you had to pay the shipping cost on individual items, you have to take that into consideration when it's time to actually purchase. So what you can do is you can go to see other items, and it will show all of the items that this seller has. Now that allows you to, especially if they're all buy it nows, to pick and choose different items from the same seller and save on those shipping costs. So by being able to view sellers' other items, now you're combining shipping costs, saving yourself a lot of money, saving the seller a lot of hassle, because they can just put it all in one box, and it's a lot easier for you. Now, the other thing is that sellers may have other types of items for sale. Like, for instance, I went to a garage sale and I've got a whole box of hardcover books. Well, if you go through and look at all my stuff that I'm selling, you're going to see all of my currency that I'm selling, but you're also going to see a little bit of silver, and you're also going to see a bunch of hardcover books, and you're going to see a board game. You never know what kind of stuff the seller is going to have. And if they're combining shipping, all the better. Now you simply pay shipping on the one item, and they tuck everything else in there with it. And once again, you have saved a lot of money. So that is number 3 on my list, viewing sellers' other items. Number 2 has to do with timing. If you decide that you are going to start sniping, if you want to be a sniper and try to steal this when there is minimal time to go, as you can see, this one expired, so we'll just go back another page here and see what else we can find. Yeah, these have all ended, so let's scroll down to something still going. All right, here we go. 1950 $100 bill. We'll look at this one. It's selling in one minute. All right, so if I click on this. Now, if I wanted this note, I can see that the timer is going down, 56, 55, 54. The question then becomes, how long do you wait to bid on it? And that's where it becomes tricky. You can go right here to where it says bid amount and type in your amount and hover that arrow over there. And with 1 second left, you can hit place bid. And if you do that, you will not get the item. Why? Because after you type it in here and after you hit place bid, another screen's going to pop up and go, confirm your bid. Okay, well, if you have to confirm the bid and you only had a second at the last time you did it, now you're screwed. Now you can't confirm your bid. Now it's already too late. So generally, once this gets down to like 15 seconds, that's when I'm going to type in my bid here, and then I'm going to hit place bid. And then when I'm on that second screen, when it gets down to about 5 seconds or so, that's when I'm going to place my bid there. Because if there's any internet delay at all, that gives me a 5-second window just in case. Now, yes, someone who's sitting there at the 1 second mark may be able to snipe me, but they also run the risk of missing. I literally cannot tell you how many items I got bidding at 5 seconds that somebody trying to bid at 1 second didn't make it in because they didn't make it in. I can tell you how many times I have tried to wait to 1 second and did not get in. So I do not wait till that 1 second. I do it at about 5 seconds. Using timing that way gives me a little bit of a cushion, and even if you go 7 or 8 seconds, it sometimes will even give you enough time to try to squeeze out an extra $1 or $2 in one more bid. But that's number 2, timing your bid. And finally, last but not least, number 1 on my list, this is the thing that I do more often than any. It is the make offer, and make offer with notes. Okay, here we go, right here. Here's one example. This is a 2017 heavily inked, whatever, yada, yada, yada. It's $2.50 plus shipping, and it says or best offer. When a note says or best offer, you can then name your own price, and you send that offer to the seller. And the seller, of course, has the option to accept, they can decline, or they can counter your offer with a different price. The reason that is so good is if you know your stuff, like I do, you can place your offer and you are allowed to add a note. And by adding a note saying, the green sheet says this is this, I'll give you this much for it, or something to that effect, it shows that you know what you're talking about and you're backing up your bid with some type of legitimacy rather than just trying to weasel somebody down a little bit. In doing that, I have successfully gotten notes for as much as 50% off. So yeah, make an offer and put a note in there saying why you're offering what you're offering. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at how many people, first of all, will accept the offer, no questions asked. And secondly, the number of people that will counter your offer because they understand that you are truly interested. All right, guys, that's my top 10 hints for buying on eBay. Hopefully that'll help you guys score a little bit more on eBay, and hopefully you won't be trying to snipe me. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you this week. If you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. I love reading your comments. Next week, I'm going to do the top 10 hints for selling on eBay. So that's what you have to look forward to. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.